Hello, today we will be learning what a function is and how to identify them. We are starting Unit 4. Okay, and you'll notice I'm on page 61 to 62. Functions and linear equations. Today we are focusing on identifying functions, and your essential question is, what is a function and how do I identify them? Feel free to pause the video and write all this down. When we think of a function, we want to think of something that we put something in and we get something out. So one of the most common things is a vending machine. Okay, and then how does a vending machine function? What do you put into the vending machine? Well, hopefully you're thinking of money. Okay, so that's what would go into it. And then what would be considered the output? So what comes out of a vending machine? Well, whatever you buy. So it could be a soda, it could be candy, chips. What situations may signal that the machine is not functioning correctly? So for instance, something would go in, maybe you'd put your money, but it eats your money, you don't get it. Okay, so when we're talking about functions, think of something that you can relate to. Something where you can input and you'll get something out of it. Maybe like a car. Gas goes into it so it can run. Okay? Before we get started, we need to go over some important vocabulary. So relation. Okay, that's a set of ordered pairs. Remember, ordered pairs. Our x value and then our y. Okay, a function. It's a rule that assigns each input to exactly one output. Okay, the domain is what we consider to be our x values or our input. And then the range is our y values or our output. So please make sure you pause the video and write all 4 of these vocabulary words down. All right, so let's focus on identifying functions. Well, when we're talking about an ordered pair, in order for a relationship to be considered a function, each member of the domain, our x values, must be paired with only one member of the range, which is our y values. Well, what does that mean? That really means if an x value repeats, if there's more than one x value, then it's not a function. So when we're looking at ordered pairs, we're really looking to see if the x value repeats. And if it does repeat, then it's not a function. So let's take a look here. Is the relationship when we are looking at 3, 5, 2, 1, 1, 4, and 5, 5 a function? Well, if I look at just the ordered pairs, I'm focusing on the x values, which is the first number in the ordered pair. Do I have any repeating numbers? 3, 2, 1, 5. So no. So therefore, it's a function. We can also look at it through what we call a mapping. So we essentially ignore the y values and we just focus on that each number only has one arrow. Okay, so because each number only has one arrow, that would be a function. And then when I'm looking at a graph, if each x value only has one coordinate on it, then it's a function. Okay, so let's look at the next one. So I'm looking at the relationship here. I'm going to focus on my x values. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you'll notice I've got 3 again. So right there, because I have a repeating, it's not a function. If I'm looking at a mapping, we'll notice that when it's 3, it's got 2 arrows here. Remember, we don't care about the y side. We only care about the x, the input. So because I have 2 arrows here, it's not a function. And you'll notice by looking at the graph, I have 2 coordinates that lie on an x line right here. So therefore, it's not a function. Okay, again, I want to focus on the y value, the x values, not the y. So we essentially just kind of ignore the y side. And we only focus on the x. So when I look here, do I have any repeating values? No, okay, because negatives and positives are different numbers. So therefore, it's a function. Here, do I have any repeating values? No. So it's a function. This one, I have 3 repeating, so therefore it's not a function. If we're looking at a graph, we use what we call the vertical line test. Okay, to determine if a graph represents a function. If a vertical line test intersects a graph at more than one place, then it is not a function. Okay, so we take our pencil and we simply draw a vertical line down the middle of the graph. So you can see here it only crosses one time, so therefore it's a function. If I'm looking at this one, you'll notice it crosses twice, so it's not a function. Crosses once, so it's a function. And then if I draw a vertical line here, it crosses once, so it's a function. Okay, so go ahead and try these ones on your own. Pause the video and see if you can determine if these are functions or not. If it's not a function, tell why it's not a function. All right, hopefully you've taken the time to pause the video and looked through these to determine if they are functions or not. So let's see how you did. So if we're looking at number 1, this is no, it's not a function because -1 repeats. So I'm looking here and here in the x values and you can see it repeats. Number 2 is a function. Number 3 is a function. Number 4 is not a function because 2 repeats. So if I'm looking at the x values, 2 repeats. These ones with the coordinates can be a little challenging. I usually draw a vertical line down each one to make sure that there's not 2 coordinates on one line, so you can see that. So that's not a function. If I'm looking at number 8, right here, I've got 2 coordinates that lie on the same x line, so it's not a function. If I draw a vertical line, it's only going to cross once, so that's a function. And if I draw a vertical line, you'll see it crosses twice, so it's not a function. Let's check a couple others. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video again and see if you can solve these 4. Hopefully at this time you took a minute to pause the video, you worked these out. So let's see how you did. So hopefully number 5 you said was a function. Number 6 is not because as you can see here I've got 2 lines. And then over here you can see if you were to draw a line this will cross twice, so it's not a function. And if you drew a line this crosses once, so it is a function. Okay, at this time hopefully you've got all your questions answered, but if you don't, please make sure you ask and you are ready to move on for your assignment for today.